Good morning and welcome to Holly Tree Manor. It's a typical winter's day. It's raining. It's a nice steady drizzle. Just enough you can't go outside and do anything. The cold kind of permeates everything. I've had the dog out a couple times, but Deuce is not fond of rain. He'll jump in the creek. No problem. We'll jump in the creek and we'll play in the water. But you let it rain, and I have to coax him off the patio so he can go do his outside activities. He's just kind of that kind of dog. So I was sitting here this morning and I was thinking about my life as the lady of the manor. Now I realize that my lifelong ambition to become the lady of the manor probably isn't, well, I guess maybe that's not a real high reach. In our society where you always have to be doing more and more and more and more and getting higher, higher, and higher, my life's ambition was to work my job, put money back for retirement, retire, and be the lady of the manor. And I was sitting here this morning thinking, you know what, you made it. This is what you wanted. You wanted to be home on your own slice of heaven, 3 little acres out here on the side of the mountain, doing what you want to do, when you want to do it. Yeah, this is what I always wanted to be. I had some good role models for that, whether or not they knew they were my role models. A couple of the older women here in the community did not work. They had their gardens, they did canning, they made candles, they made soap, they did all that kind of, all those things. And I was exposed to all of that at an early age. My grandmother, they were contemporaries of my grandmother, and she took me around to visit them. And they taught me how to do a lot of this stuff. I thought it was really cool. Those women were always happy. They were always smiling and laughing. I thought, yeah, that's the kind of life. Some of them kept chickens. Some of them kept bees, which I'd like to be a beekeeper, but I'm kind of half afraid of them little devils. They'll hurt you. But it made me realize that there's more to life than the grind. Now, I started working when I was 16, and I worked every day, every in the work week, till I was 65. And it wasn't that hard. It really wasn't that hard to do. Part of that is that, everybody needs money. Money is the tool that you use to live your life. Well, I needed that tool. I was lucky. I had good jobs. I had employers who participated in pension funds, and I put money back, and I was able to retire and become the lady of the manor. A lot of people struggle with the idea of retirement, and I did not. I was like, yes, I am finally here, and I'm finally going to do this. I'm going to have a garden. I'm going to can. I'm going to do a lot of different little things. I'm going to take care of my 3 acres. And I've been doing it since May of 2022, and I've enjoyed it. When I was working, I couldn't really have a garden. I wish now that I would have paid more attention to my grandfather when he was trying to teach me all these things about gardening, but I was younger and I had my mind on other things, and I just didn't listen the way I should have. So while I can grow things, I'm still learning. Home canning is science. It's not just, you know, putting up some fruit and some veggies. There's a science to it, and I enjoy that. There's an exacting recipe for these things. So I do that. It's cook once, eat several times. My property is mostly wooded. It's, like I say, 3 acres. two of it's wooded, and Mother Nature throws down enough trees and branches and things every year that I have enough firewood. Now, this past year, if you've been following along, you know that I had to have an oak tree cut down because it had died, and we took down some maples because they had gotten too tall and were a danger to the house. So I have plenty of firewood. I don't mind going outside and working. I don't mind picking up my chainsaw and cutting up the logs. I don't mind splitting the rounds into firewood, stacking it up. It's all just part of being the lady of the manor. The lady of the manor to me is not someone who just sits back and lets the menfolk work. That's not it. That is not what I grew up with. My role models, they gardened, they sewed, they did all these things. A lot of what they did back in the day, they got up 5 o'clock on Saturday mornings and they took all their wares into a local city farmers market. That's how those women had pocket change. That's how they made money for themselves. Their husbands worked and paid the household expenses, but didn't leave a lot left for women who wanted to, maybe buy some things that they couldn't raise, buy some fabric to make quilts. I just grew up with all of that. And I spent my working years looking forward to being home. That if I so choose, I can do all of that. Before I retired, I had a lot of people look at me and say, "You're going to be bored." Well, I am not bored. I'm really not. I have enough chores around here to keep me busy. I find some creative outlets. I am a published author, so I always have that to fall back on in the afternoons and evenings when there's, my chores are finished and there's nothing outside that I want to tackle. But no, I am not bored. Um, when I thought about retiring, I thought, I am going to need a bit of a routine. There again, my grandfather sort of shined the light down the path for me. Every evening, he would check the weather, and what we could get in those days. There was a local a DC station that had enough output that could reach us with an old time antenna. It was like one channel. We had one channel, and he would watch the weather, and he would say, "Okay, it's raining in Ohio, so it's going to be raining here tomorrow." And more often than not, he was absolutely correct. But he would plan his next day based on that weather report. What he was going to do in the garden, uh, whether if he was going to garden or if he was going to go downstairs and build another beehive. He was a beekeeper. His contemporaries here in the neighborhood, if there was a swarm, they'd call him up and say, "There's a swarm down here, Buck, you better come get it." So he always wanted to have a box ready that he could go and catch a swarm of bees. But that was a roadmap for me. Make a plan. The evening before, make a plan. As far as having a routine, well, yeah, I do. I worked for a lot of years. At 6 o'clock, my dog knows it's time. It's time for Deuce to go outside, and Deuce tells me it's time for Deuce to go outside. So I'm still getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, letting the dog out, seeing what the weather is, having a cup of coffee, watching the Weather Channel to see if anything has changed. And depending on the time of year, I'm going to garden. I'm going to go out and work some firewood. I'm lucky enough that my cousin lives next door. We go out and when the weather is suitable, we walk our dogs. We live out in the country. We just go up the road. Early in the morning, there's no traffic, so we don't have to really worry about that. Sometimes we can actually take them back through the woods. That's kind of fun too. And then, I garden. If I have things to do inside, like canning, I can. In the afternoons, when it gets really hot, I come here to the computer and I do computer work. In the evenings, I check in with girlfriends or whatever, or sometimes we go to trivia night. Sometimes girlfriends and I go out to dinner. I'm not bored. Retirement is a good thing. Being the lady of the manor is a good thing. There's a lot of things that my late husband and I enjoyed, sitting on the patio. So I still sit on the patio. I make time for that. But I think it's okay that my ambitions were not to climb the corporate ladder. I didn't want to be the CEO of a company. I think it's okay for someone whose ambitions are more modest. You have something you want to do, like be the lady of the manor. You have to plan, you have to work for it. And if it's something that you really, really want, you can make it happen. You don't have to be in the corporate grind every day of your life. You don't have to aspire to great heights. You hear people talk about, oh, you need $1 million to retire. Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. I don't have $1 million. It certainly would be nice if I did, but I don't. And I'm still very comfortable. I work to pay off my mortgage. I work to pay off my car loans. I keep myself out of debt. You can do it. You really can do it. But that's kind of like that's an insight to my life that things are good. I wanted to be the lady of the manor, and I am. And some of my friends laugh when I call myself that, but it's just kind of something that I always envisioned. You can retire and you can thrive. You can thrive every day. You can be happy every day. Are there challenges? Yeah, there's challenges, but everybody's got challenges. Even working, going to work sometimes was a challenge when the weather was bad. I don't have to worry about that. If it snows, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to drive 20 miles to a job in the snow and the ice. There's some good things like that. But I really don't see a problem with people being happy in their retirement. I don't see a problem with people being happy to be home. I know a lot of retired people that all they do is run. They go on expensive vacations. They go on expensive cruises. Then they complain about not having enough money. Well, there's a reason for that. You can thrive in retirement. You can live a nice, quiet life and be very, very happy. And I'm proof of that. So I just wanted to kind of check in and put that out there because I'm sure there's other people that are questioning decisions about retire. I can recommend it. I can highly recommend it. It's what I always wanted to kind of be my own boss and be able to do what I wanted to do every day and not be under the thumb of an employer, even though I had good employers. Now I'm under my own thumb, tripping over my own feet sometimes, but we all know how that is when you get older. But you can thrive in retirement, and I sincerely hope that you do. And maybe if I get another thought about retirement living, I'll put that out there too. Because I think people approaching retirement, people who are newly retired, I think you need some reassurance that it's okay. It's okay. It'll be okay. So and that's about all I really wanted to say today. So there it is. Thanks for stopping by. Like and subscribe if you would, please. Help the channel grow because YouTube hasn't really found me yet. Stay safe and look for joy in everything you do. Thank you.